Hey everybody, welcome back to the Modcast. I'm Gordo, and that's Gary. I was told by a listener recently that I open every show that way. I didn't realize it, but I do. So again, I'm Gordo, and that's Gary. Welcome to episode number 10. Hey, this is going to be a fun one. We're talking about real estate and hiring in a post-COVID world. We're going to get into a lot of different things in this show, and I can't wait. But we did have a listener ask this question. This is I was talking to them and they said, I'm loving the podcast and I have to know a couple of things. Number one, Gary Roth is hilarious. This listener said that.
Was that a question or a statement?
That was his statement.
Okay, good.
And he said, but what I'm dying to know is how tall is Gary Roth?
I mean,
and so we thought we would do our stats.
Yeah, okay. I'm dying to know why he's dying to know that. I mean, like,
well, I don't know if I didn't ask if the perception was you were like Lord Farquhar from the movie Shrek, the little guy that rides the horse and he's got his leg extensions to make him look like a big guy.
I'm familiar.
Or if he thought you were like, Shaq size.
Yeah, no, so
I don't know.
Thought I was Shaq size.
It's video, so nobody knows.
Yeah,
so inquiring minds want to know exactly how tall is Gary Roth.
Okay. All right. Well, not something I'm particularly spent a lot of time thinking about, but I am not tall. I think I'm officially 5'7".
5'7".
Yeah. I mean, right. I've always had in my head, there was this, I think when Mark Wahlberg, who people probably know as an actor, was known as Marky Mark, a rapper, I suppose, of sorts. I think he had a line in a song that was like, I'm only 5'8", but I've got mad rise. And mad rise meaning he could jump. Well,
he could jump. He's got hops.
I'm 5'8", like with shoes on, 5'9", maybe even 5'10" if I'm wearing something I don't wear.
Right.
But I don't have mad rise.
No mad rise.
I can't jump. So yeah.
All right. So 5'7".
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, 5'7".
I probably present.
And we're going to do all the stats, by the way. So we got your height, 5'7".
We're not doing weights.
Well, we'll get into weight. What's your age?
I'm 55.
55'7", 55.
Yeah.
Family?
Yes, I have family.
Your direct family.
Yeah, wife and 2 kids.
Wife and 2.
Boy and a girl.
And what's the mix of the kids?
Boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl.
Yeah.
And how long you been at this? How long you been in the industry?
Well, I was going to say how long I've been married. In the industry, about the same length as I've been married, about 30 years.
Yeah. So what's crazy is Mike Capelli, Gary Roth, myself, we've all been married to our first spouse for a long time. I just celebrated my 28th wedding anniversary last weekend.
To be clear, you said we've all been married to our first spouse. I just want to be clear that
not the same spouse.
We each have a different spouse.
Different ladies.
Yes.
Yeah. And they are absolutely, having met and know all 3 of them, they are by far the way better half of the marriage than we are.
Yeah.
So they're all lovely, lovely ladies.
We recently all had dinner together. It was terrific.
Yeah, it was great. So we've all been married like 28 to 30. I think the Capellis were like 32 years or something.
Yeah, I don't know offhand. I could ask right now.
Well, we talked about it at dinner, but I think that was the year. But it was a long time. All right, so 5'7", you're 55.
Yeah.
A family with a boy and a girl. Industry tenure about 30 years. Married about 30 years. And okay, all good. Well, I'll just do the reverse.
You want me to ask you?
It's very easy.
How tall are you, Jason Gordo?
Well, inquiring minds want to know. I'm shrinking. Yeah. At one point, I did reach 6 foot, and I'm no longer near 6 foot tall. I'm somewhere around 5'11".
Okay.
Yeah.
You
it
sure
was a minute
about that?
In time. Yeah.
Okay.
Positive.
All right.
Of records.
That's weird that you shrank so much. I mean.
Yeah. And every year, I think, I don't know if it's because I slump or what, but I definitely am getting shorter.
Okay. Maybe get like some springs installed.
Some hops.
And yes. And weight? No, just kidding.
Weight, fluffy.
Yeah.
I'm officially fluffy.
And I think you're still in a milestone year. How old are you?
I am currently 50.
Yeah. A youngster.
I'm proud to be 50.
A youngster.
Yeah.
Especially for this business.
It's our
So-
biggest decade is going to be our 50s. I can't wait.
Yeah. 50s are
Yeah.
the new 50s. I'm not into all those like, oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the 30s. No, it's not really. Like
50 and fabulous.
I remember being 35. I don't feel the same at 55. as I
I'd
did
say
at 35.
50, fluffy, and fabulous.
Fabulous. Awesome. Can you jump?
No.
No. I knew that.
No.
Yeah. For our wonderful listener who wanted to know, there you go.
5'7".
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into the show because I think we're going to have a very fun discussion. We're going to get into real estate and not residential real estate, not rentals, none of that stuff, office real estate. And when you're building a firm, kind of what has changed. And I had a very interesting conversation a couple of weeks ago as we're preparing to take out a very large piece of office space in a really nice complex, and got to talking to the listing agent or the agent representing us. And we walked through a number of buildings, but one of the buildings we walked through was 105,000 square feet of office
On the floor. Or
well,
the whole
it was
building.
two-floor
2 floors.
building.
Okay.
So it was 52,500 square foot on the first floor,
Yeah.
and same on the second
Okay.
floor. So a total of 105.
Yeah.
One business occupied 105,000 square feet of office. And I said, well, they occupy this entire space. What are they going to give up? Like, we're looking for 25,000 square feet. And he said, well, interestingly enough, pre-COVID, they needed all this space. And they are going down to a 25,000 square foot office environment. And I said, wow, what happens to all these employees? He said, oh, they're going to continue to employ them. The footprint's going to get much smaller. We have a work from home situation going on. We have some work from the office going on. We didn't need as many conference rooms, or they didn't need as many conference rooms as they once needed. The offices don't need to be as big as they once were. There was a whole number of factors that was allowing them to shrink basically to a quarter of their size. And so we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about kind of what we're looking for in an office space. We're going to talk about, clients' willingness to do meetings virtually versus in office. We're going to talk about, we're going to have a little debate because we definitely have different opinions around a topic that I know that we're going to get to, which is return to office and the value of that, or the not value of that. And then we'll talk about the war for talent. But let's go back to this Phoenix Metro office complex discussion real quick. So the agent says to me, it used to pre-COVID, everybody that was looking for office headquarter location space, they were looking for 100 to 125,000 square feet of office. So across Phoenix and the Phoenix Metro, you'll have a lot of buildings that are 75,000 to 150,000 square feet that were once occupied by a single tenant or maybe two tenants. But a lot of people taking up 100 to 125,000 square feet of office. And today, and there was a lot of competition for that office pre-COVID. And today, the majority of the competition for office space is right in the sweet spot of what we're looking for, 25,000 square feet. So they said between 20 and 30,000 square feet of office, there's a ton of demand and a lot of competition for that space. And there's new buildings going up in the Phoenix Metro that have kind of 50,000 foot plates where they're two corporate headquarters or campuses could be built out on the same floor. I thought that was very interesting that literally office space is going to a quarter what it was 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do the research for this episode in terms of all the stats of what it means financially for commercial real estate. So it's an obvious topic that other people have covered that we're not covering here today, but we're talking more about business organization, operation, structure, how you build, operate, manage. Yeah, I mean, that sort of is a great anecdote that proves what we've all experienced over the last now 5 years, which is obviously, COVID completely changed the way people work, and how you think about space. And I mean, I'll give a story about us back to the origins of this company. When we were starting, Modern Wealth, we, I would say 20 years ago and 30 years ago when I was sort of in my first company, 20 years ago when we were in the last company, um, one of the first things you did was went and got like real estate. You got what people would call a real office, like in a real building in a central business district or something convenient for people, whatever met your needs, depending on the type of business you have, but you wanted to like show you were really in business. Like that was like how you showed you had business
It showed like
cards.
strength,
Right.
you
Like
know?
like you
Yeah.
had business cards and you
Yeah.
had a real office and you had signs on the door. And if you could negotiate it and you had enough space, you would have signage maybe outside the building or on the nameplate outside the building. If not on the building, that would be a bigger thing. And it was like, this is how you show you've got a real company.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were starting this company, Mike Capelli, our partner, and I were here in Orange County, California. You're up there in Monterey. And, in the pre-launch, we were just working from home. And then it was sort of like, okay, we don't really want to work from home, but we're gonna upgrade to like not working from home. But like we took the people who visited us here in Laguna Beach and South Laguna and people who visited like we have small offices that do not in any way represent the size and scale of our total company because our
Yep.
real estate footprint is invested in the places we're meeting with clients, where we have advisors meeting with clients, and we'll get to that. But it was a complete change from the like, oh, well, you got to go get, even though we only were going to have a handful of people here, for a small business, you would have been like, well, we need to get like 5,000 square feet because then we're going to grow into it because we're going to need 20 or 30 people. And then we're going to go to 10 and then we're going to go to 15. We're going to go to 20. So, we have a small office here. It's in a beautiful place overlooking the
Yep.
Pacific Ocean.
Yep.
And people love coming to it, but it completely changed. And in fact, when we were launching, we were in a meeting with our investors, and one of the partners in our private equity firm, we talked about private equity in the last, said, "Do you even need office space?" And posed the question, and it was like and it was really interesting. It was a complete sea change from where you would have been 5, 10, 15 years earlier of like, what are you going to do to look like you're a serious business as you're starting up? So with that, what's the implications for this business, the wealth management business, which is obviously a client-centric, there is nothing without the clients, client-centric business. So you brought up earlier an interesting factor of the willingness of clients to meet virtually. So let's talk about how that's evolved over time.
Yeah. So in our prior life, well, in my advisory life, I spent the first 16 years of my career in the seat as an advisor, and clients, they wanted a physical space to meet. It was either you went to their kitchen table or they came to your conference room. And generally those relationships started with them sitting at your conference room, right? They wanted to come into your office. They wanted to see that you had a receptionist, that you had a team, that again, bricks and mortar mattered then. And that was in the first part of the 2000s. And I always had really nice office space and a team around me. It was great. And I learned a lot, and we're going to get into that later, but I did learn a lot.
I'm glad by episode 10, we're finally going to get into what you've learned. That's good.
Yeah. Well, we're going to argue about what I've learned. I'll tell you that. And then kind of the next decade, we were using, in the old company, we were using video. We were pretty good users of video across the old business, and probably 20 or 25% of the clients were comfortable doing business in a virtual setting like this, right? And then COVID happened, and now it's a complete reversal. Majority of clients prefer to meet over a video call like this.
Well, and for
We
a
have our
while,
organic growth hub.
for a while, it was 100% because
They had to.
they had to, or, particularly, I mean, many advisors have older clients. And during that time, if there were people who were comfortable meeting personally, it tended to be that, older clients were more afraid to meet in person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like almost all of it was virtual.
Yeah. Right. And so what's happened is into our organic growth hub, when those concierge associates are working with potential clients and understanding their financial needs and the uniqueness of them and driving opportunity for our advisors, we actually we say, hey, look, this is the field of advisors that we have. These are the ones that kind of make a best fit with you and your financial situation based on what you're telling me and the facts and kind of what we've talked about. Do you want to meet with somebody in the office or do you want to meet with somebody virtually? And by far, virtual meetings are preferred today. We still have some prospects that want to come in and meet, but the majority of our clients and the majority of prospects want to meet online. So how does that change the real estate question for us?
I mean, again, it's interesting because in a lot of ways, I think it's still unfelt because we're in our business specifically, as people know, or if they've looked us up, they know we have offices around the country. And they've joined us with their existing sort of footprint, right? And they've sort of had that, and it may be from pre-COVID, or maybe they right-sized during or after COVID, like we meet them after. Um, I think what it means is, though, you might not be shrinking, but you can scale and grow your business without having to add anywhere near as much. You may need more because you might have more people to service those clients. We'll get into that in a sec. But you obviously don't, it absolutely shrinks the need. By what factor? Is it a 1 to 4, or like the example you had in Phoenix? Maybe not quite so much in a business like ours. But, if it was like, well, if you're going to build your business from 200 clients to 250 to 300 over a certain number of years, well, in the old world of meeting 100% in person, that at a minimum meant more conference room space,
Yeah.
and or more bigger offices where you could have a meeting where you got your desk and you got a room for chairs or a table or, screens you can turn around, however you conduct your meetings. And it just means you can operate much more in a contained environment than you could in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think people they desire the human connection. I think, those COVID years were,
Sucked.
they
Can
were
I say that?
awful.
Can I
Yeah,
say
you
that?
can say that.
Okay.
They absolutely sucked. I'll say it with you. and, and I think what happens coming out of COVID, and I know a lot of people think we've been out of COVID for a long time, and we have been, but
It feels like a
it's
long
still
time.
driving a lot of corporate decisions. That clients want that human interaction.
Yeah.
Employees want that human
Well,
interaction.
that's the next thing is can you build the same culture remotely as you could and, all together? And no, you can't. I mean, I'll just say that, like the feeling, the camaraderie, the casual interactions, being able to just chat in the hallway or while getting a cup of coffee or, like, hey, you want to grab lunch, or hey, you want to grab a coffee or a drink after work or whatever, that kind of stuff. It doesn't happen if you're in a very
Mhm.
distributed environment. And that is the other side of the coin of in a company setting.
Yep.
It does not in the client interaction setting, but in a company setting that is absolutely lost. And frankly, in the client interaction setting, and I'm not a financial advisor, but um, in other interactions, we have partners and business partners and advisors to us that we work with. And when you meet them in person, you feel you develop more of a connection. And I don't think it would be ideal. I think ideally you'd have a minimum, a combination of remote and in person. And I think that's something I actually remember from a client survey we did a number of years ago, where what changed was we started asking a question of how willing are you to meet remotely? And it moved from like, an average of less than one meeting a year to more of like, the preference was if they preferred 2 meetings a year, one in person and one remote. And that might be the ideal combination for a financial advisor or someone else who's in a service business where You want to maintain that interpersonal connection and keep the relationship super strong, but not every meeting requires someone to like drive in, park, set up a conference room and all that stuff.
Frankly, people just don't have the time for that anymore. I mean, it's like, why would I do that if I didn't have to?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about like, if I'm going to drive 30 minutes each way to a meeting, if it's going to be a half-hour meeting or an hour meeting, and I could instead Zoom and spend 1 hour instead of 2, if we're just talking.
Better be a damn impactful and important meeting if you're getting me to drive.
Right. But different people feel differently about that. But there's absolutely no doubt that the real estate implications have totally changed.
All right. Let's I think we're going to duke it out here.
Maybe a little. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you were fighting from the blue corner with your stats earlier, and I was fighting from the gold corner. And, the announcer was given the now fighting, right? Anyway, take all the nonsense off and drop the gloves. Let's get after it. All right. So
we're both lefties, so we're both going to lead.
We're both lefties.
Although I'm kind of ambidextrous, so you don't know where this punch is coming from.
And I'm not. I mean, you just have to keep an eye on my left hand because the right one is going to do nothing.
Oh,
maybe block one of your punches, and that's about it.
You're going down second round.
Yeah, but I'm really good with the left. All right. So return to office. This is a debate. I have very strong opinions on this. And I'm going to tell a story in a little bit that have only made those strong opinions more deeply and firmly rooted in my body. So, return to office. Do you think it's important that people return to an office to work?
So this is where I might phrase it a little bit differently. I do think it's important. However, I think it depends on the function. And I think that having seen a world where you could be completely geographically unlocked in terms of people, meaning you're trying to fill a position, and instead of focusing on who can I get that lives in this area or is willing to move to this area, it's just who's the best fit for this job, regardless of geography. I think that it is hard to go back to geography first, fit second, if you have to rank order prioritize that, because there's a balance here. Yeah, it's amazing to be together, and you absolutely lose things by not being together, but there's no substitute for having the right people. And sometimes it's not so clear cut, but that's where I have, I think, a little bit of a split view on this and particularly our team that works with offices all over the country. Do they need to be in one place or can they be remote? And because we started this company really in the close aftermath of COVID, and it was like, yeah, everyone's still remote and it's fine. We do have a lot of people in our central team that are in different places. And I think we were able to put a team together. This is part of my bias, and to be quite blunt about our company, transparent.
Yeah.
I think we were able to put a team together that we wouldn't have been able to put the same team together if we said everyone's got to be in one place. Right. So that's my feeling is I hate giving up that flexibility to prioritize fit over geography.
You and I just interviewed somebody. We're not going to talk about the job
or
describe the position, but we just interviewed somebody right before the Modcast that lives in geography where we don't have footprint.
Right.
And they were great. I mean, we both really like them. We'd love for them to be part of our company. They may have to work in a remote way. I get that.
Right.
But it would also be a job that would allow for that remote flexibility.
Yeah.
Right. It would. My preference is we all work in an office together, and I have a very strong preference that especially advisory teams were not remote, that we're together. And I'll tell you, I would have failed out of this business very rapidly had I not been in an office with 23 other financial advisors when I got started.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because and I left my door, I had an office, I left the door wide open because I wanted to hear all the conversations going on with clients and prospects and what were the other advisors talking about when they were talking, because I didn't have any clients, right? I was the rookie. I was trying to get clients, but I didn't have any. And so I wanted to know, what's the talk track? How do we overcome obstacles, and how do we talk to people, and what do we talk about, and what's important? What do you emphasize? And I firmly believe if you're an advisor or somebody supporting an advisor, you're missing a tremendous amount of learning and being together, rallying around the client, serving the client, by if you're trying to do it in a remote way. Now, it's possible, you can do it, but I think you have a deeper connection to each other. You have a deeper sense of purpose when it comes to rallying around the client.
Yeah.
I think there's a ton of learning, and I just believe that.
Well,
when it comes to the advisory teams.
Well, let me be clear. I wasn't talking about the advisory teams. I was talking about what people like to call corporate roles. I hate the word corporate, but
I know you do. We all do.
So that's why I was saying central. I agree with you when it comes to the client-facing teams.
Yep.
Although I am sure that there are people right now who are building advisory businesses with clients across the country because of what you said before. Prospects are willing to meet with someone who they don't need them to be geographically close to them because they're willing to meet remotely. And I'm sure there are firms that have built themselves on the back of that. The opposite of the way firms used to be built, where it was all local affinity, who you knew, who you could go meet with, friends of friends, bringing them in, bringing them to a barbecue out of your barbecue trailer in the parking lot in Modesto. I'm sure that there are firms that are being built that way now that will succeed for decades and continue to build because it doesn't matter where the clients are. It's just all about what they're doing. And that, I think we have a blend of that. But I think it is a lot more challenging to operate in a silo when you're supporting a client as opposed to interacting with a team when you're part of more of a department. But I think there's pros and cons to both. I mean, there's the in-office setting is, what we all grew up with, and we started our careers doing that. And I think, like, if you talk to people in their 20s and 30s, maybe they might say, yeah, think about how much time is wasted. Think about all the distractions, all the disruptions, people coming by and being like, what are you doing? You want to go? I mean, when I talked before about getting a cup of coffee as a positive thing and building culture, it could also be like a massive, like, okay, now you're just, wasting time. So
you're totally setting up my story.
Yeah. So, but you have a great
totally
story.
setting me
You
up.
have a great story that
Well,
we should have started this segment with.
It's going exactly to what you're just describing.
Yeah.
So my wife and I took our annual vacation. This is a couple of months ago now. We happened to be in Croatia. It was beautiful. Anybody wants to talk about Croatia, call me. Happy to get you, promote you to promote the trip to Croatia.
Can we get like the
phenomenal.
Croatia tourist board to
I think
sponsor the
I've earned
Modcast?
I think I'm the chairman now. Yeah. I'm on this boat. There's 27 passengers. Tracy and I are 2 of the 27. There's 25 other people on the boat from all over the world. There happen to be a lot of Americans on the boat, as we're called when we're in Europe. And there were some 30-year-olds, some mid 30-year-old folks on the boat. And we're out to sea. Like we're going from island to island. We're on this boat. We're with each other all the time. Like we know what everybody's doing on the boat. And a handful of the mid 30-year-olds were quote unquote working while on the boat. So I had a conversation with one. I'm not going to tell you what they did for a living. I won't mention names, but I said, you're working, as we're laying on the top deck of the boat. And I was reading a great book that that we've all read about living longer that maybe we can get into on a future episode. And this person had their laptop out and he said, yeah, I've just got to like do a few emails, maybe 5 or 6 emails real quick. And I'll do 5 or 6 more later today. But I'm working. And I was like, so you're going to send 10 emails today and you're quote unquote working? He's like, yeah. And I go, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm an engineer, software engineer. And there were multiple people in his crew that had similar jobs that were doing similar things. And I said, how many hours do you think you'll work while on the trip? And he said, maybe 30 minutes a day, but it'll look like I've worked for 8 hours. And
The guy must write really good emails.
Right. Yeah. And I said, what? And he goes, well, even when I'm home, I only work 2 hours a day. Gary, this is what the person told me.
I think what I'm hearing is this guy's way smarter than we are.
Yeah, because we work way more than 2 hours a day. But 2 hours a day is his maximum that he will work. And the rest of the time, he's either running or surfing. And he's been doing this for 5 years. He recently was promoted.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me, but it's not unbelievable to me because I do believe a work from home environment. I'm not saying everybody that works from home, I'm ready for the hate mail that's about to come my way.
Well,
but I think there are a lot of people that are quote unquote working from home and not actually working.
Well, there's also, and this is a whole other podcast probably for people who know more about it than we do, but there's also like information economy and there's service economy. We're in the service economy, right? Like our company's role is to meet with and provide service to people. And so that's a different model entirely. So that guy might provide incredible value, whatever he does. I'm not going to pretend to understand it. I definitely don't understand the people who supposedly make millions of dollars a year being social media influencers, but I guess it's really just a switch from TV advertising or radio advertising or billboards to another form of advertising in the consumer marketplace. But I don't want to go down a rabbit hole on that, although we should be on TikTok ourselves, but
TikTok.
Right.
Anyhow, I don't know that we have anything that interesting to share. However, it got me thinking like this work from home
what about
thing,
our dance?
What
about our coordinated dance moves?
I don't have, I can't jump and I can't dance.
No rise, no dance. Yeah.
But how do you know the team is working, right? Like really working. And I know we've had lots of discussions about this. I know Mike knows my view on it.
We're about to get into like a big argument, so I don't want to, because our team works so hard. That
our team works their tails off. I'm not talking about our team because I know we have a leadership team that is geographically dispersed, and I have no doubt they are all putting in the time and the effort because we see it. Like we can see it, but I'm talking about kind of early to mid-level employee. Like who's mentoring them, who's coaching them, who's guiding them, who's fostering culture and the relationship to the business that they're working for and the clients they're supporting and the advisors they're support. Like it just, I get very, passionate about this, like early career people. How are you going to learn the art of the job? Not just the check boxes of the job if you're not with people.
Well, I think we're going to find out in about 20 years when we're presumably retired and people who are 20 or 25 now are the ones doing all the work we're talking about, and we'll see what it's like.
See how frustrated they are with the 20 years behind them group.
Yeah, right. These 10-year-olds, they know everything. They have a chip in their brain that just tells them everything. AI has taken over.
All right. So what's your opinion? What do you think in the work from home argument that we just had? Hey, there's a poll in the show notes. Go there and give us your thoughts. Tell us what you think. Work from home, work from an office. Go hit the poll. We'll discuss the results on the next show. I think we've talked this one out. It's real estate. You need less than you did. And, clients are willing to meet virtually. But if you're working in an advisory office, I really believe you got to be together. If you're working in the way our leadership team works, I'm fully on board with their senior people. They're doing awesome work. And I have no doubt that they're actually doing the work. So anyway, I'm Gordo. That's Gary. This is the Modcast. Like, share it. It's on all the platforms. And I did figure it out. It's Modcast.show. That's all you have to put in. You don't have to do a .com.
No,
it's just Modcast.show.
Yeah. See,
it's very simple.
You're almost like one of those 30-year-olds who can work from a boat now. You know how to enter a web address.
There's no way I can work from a boat. Way too many distractions for me to work from a boat. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like it, share it, make a comment to us.
Yeah, let us know how you like my new sign.
Oh, I forgot to mention the sign. I was going to mention that. It looks good.
Well, I
got rid of the vase.
I have a quick story about it. When we started the show, and we were having a conversation with our amazing head of marketing, Paul Menger, who's the man behind the Modcast and so much else here at Modern Wealth.
Yeah.
And I was really more focused on the audio aspect of it than the video aspect of it. And he said, yeah, it'll be, we're doing, because I think podcast. Oh yeah, well, it'll be on YouTube. Okay, I knew that. And I said, well, what about the blank wall behind me? Because as we talked about the unimportance of office space, we kind of half decorated our office and never finished, but we use virtual backgrounds on our Teams meetings. And I thought he said, well, we can green screen that. But it turns out what he actually said is, we can't green screen that. I just missed that important apostrophe T that changed can into something completely different. So by episode 3, I was like, hey man, what happened to the green screen? He's like, I told you we can't green screen.
Right.
And then shout out to Calvin Capelli who got us signs in the office that we could put up on the wall. And
his stats are he's 6'5".
He's 6'5". Yeah. So I don't know if he can jump.
It looks great.
Yeah. Thanks. I hope everyone enjoys it. Now
it looks great. It's awesome
that we have logos everywhere.